At first, Ash was devastated by his loss to Bede, but Ash being Ash, despite these words hitting harder than most, is able to bounce back by the time that they get back to Vermilion City. He's already training harder than ever, especially wanting the smallest members of his team to increase their might. So, he has them both face Scyther, who, like with Riolu, begins to take a liking to Darumaka. As he's training, Go and Chloe walk up and inform him that a digging expedition has just been announced to be taking place in Orberg City. Go thinks he could end up finding some cool evolution stones or maybe even a fossil, while Chloe actually just wants to take the time to use this for a school paper, as she has to write an essay about something of her choosing. Plus, she might be able to find some stones Eevee will like. Ash actually remembers going to Orberg in the past, and thinks that it's a great idea. So with that, it's off to the Sinnoh region. Upon arrival in Orberg City, the three register for the digging expedition. It'll take place in Orberg Mine, and will be led by none other than Orberg City's gym leader, Rourke. The three get their gear together, and that's when Ash runs into a familiar face from Hoenn. It's actually Rinto, who he and Go are both surprised to see. They greet him, although Go is a little reluctant due to still feeling a little bitter towards Rinto for losing to him. But the group catches up, with Chloe not having met Rinto before. When they all explain why they're participating, Rinto explains he's looking for a shiny stone and a dawn stone to evolve his Pokemon, bringing out Kirlia and Roselia. Ash is happy to see them again, although is strangely standoffish around the psychic type, remembering his encounter with Bede not too long ago. However, it's now time for the expedition to begin. The group all begin their digging. At first, it's just them using their pickaxes, but Rinto actually gets the idea to have a new member of his team help him, and he calls out his Gabite. Go is amazed by the fact Rinto has a rare Pokemon such as Gabite on his side, and asks where he can find one of his own, to which Rinto says he caught it as a Gibble in Wayward Cave. Rourke congratulates Rinto on his smart thinking, as Rourke was the only one using a Pokemon until Rinto brought out his Gabite. With Gabite digging alongside Rinto, they're the first ones to find something. Much to Rinto's disappointment, it's just a blue shard. Gabite's use of the move Dig does catch the eye of Chloe's Eevee, who uses Copycat to copy the move and help Chloe out. However, Eevee's digging isn't really controlled, so the little brown Pokemon just kind of starts digging every which way in an attempt to please her. Chloe sighs and enjoys Eevee in the endeavor. With that, Ash and Go decide it would be best for them to follow their lead. Ash brings out the three Pokemon that he was training earlier, that being Darumaka, Riolu, and Scyther. He has the three of them use their attacks in order to break through, while he uses his pickaxe alongside them. Go, meanwhile, brings out Sobble and Cubone. He decides to take a page out of Ash's book, having Sobble use Water Gun to soften the dirt and stone, and then he and Cubone try to break it together. This plan works wonders, and Go's able to find all sorts of colored shards and spheres at a much faster pace. However, he's still not finding any fossils. So, he and his Pokemon keep digging. Meanwhile, Ash and his Pokemon have been digging almost non-stop without finding anything. His Pokemon are starting to get worn out, but they don't want to give up. Scyther uses X-Scissor and manages to break through some of the rocks. And that's when he breaks something free. It's some sort of sharp black stone. It has a glassy finish to it that looks really nice. Ash picks it up and holds it up to his eyes. It's unlike anything he's ever seen before. It wasn't a shard, at least not to his knowledge. It wasn't a sphere, it was too sharp to be considered something like that. He just didn't know what it was. However, Scyther seemed to like it, so Ash figured it was worth keeping. Rinto returns around the same time as Ash, revealing he managed to find a Dawnstone. Ash shows off what he found to both Rinto and Rourke, and neither are sure what it is, which is definitely odd in Rourke's case. However, soon Go returns, with all his shards and spheres. However, he's very disappointed that he didn't get a single fossil. The only one still digging is Chloe, so they have to wait. Chloe slowly chips away at the wall with her pickaxe. Her Eevee thrashes about, digging hole after hole in the walls of the mine. The work is exhausting for Chloe. She can't see how Eevee keeps going on like this. She decides she might as well give up. However, when she calls to Eevee, she finds her partner Pokemon trying to drag something from a hole. Cautiously, Chloe picks up Eevee and moves her aside before pulling out what Eevee was trying to get. It's very dusty, but Eevee uses her tail to dust it off. To her surprise, it looks to be some sort of engraved stone or something. Finding it interesting, she hauls it over to the group. When she rejoins everyone, the group is floored to find that Chloe has actually found a fossil. Go was a little jealous, even considering asking Chloe to trade him for it. However, he doesn't say anything out loud. Rourke offers to take them to the mining museum in order to get their fossil revived. Upon arrival there, the group learns the fossil must be restored overnight, and so they must wait until the next day. That's when Rinto turns to Rourke and requests a battle, knowing already that Rourke is very close to the great class in the World Championships. Rourke accepts the challenge as there's still day out, and would like to see which of them can break out of the normal class. So, with Ash, Go, and Chloe as the audience, the battle is set to take place at Orberg Gym. Just before the battle, Rourke asks Rinto if he plans to evolve Kirlia to gain an extra advantage. However, Rinto actually plans to wait until after the battle to have Kirlia evolve, believing it would be much more rewarding that way. Go and Chloe ask Ash how strong Rourke is, so Ash explains how he lost to Rourke the first time they battled, and that his Rampardos was no joke. Rinto was going to have his work cut out for him. Rinto sends out Gabite, and Rourke sends out his Onix, a Pokemon Ash remembers well. Onix sends out Stealth Rocks, but Gabite doesn't hesitate to getting close with a powerful Dig and Dragon Claw combo. Onix tries to lower Gabite's defense with Screech, but Gabite still attacks once more. It isn't long before Onix falls. However, as soon as Rampardos comes out and lands a Zen Headbutt, Gabite falls as well. Rinto brings out Kirlia next, who takes damage from the Stealth Rock upon entry. Rinto immediately attempts to have Kirlia use Hypnosis. However, Rampardos is able to avoid and hit hard with a Head Smash. Rourke smiles, as if this was according to his plan all along. He has Rampardos charge in with another Head Smash, only for Kirlia to use Confuse Ray. Rampardos still hits with his attack, but it is showing clear signs of damage due to recoil. Now with Rampardos confused and having taken quite a bit of damage, Rinto calls for a Magical Leaf. Rampardos is hit hard with the attack, and falls unconscious. Rinto has won the battle, and due to this, is now in the Great class alongside Ash. Speaking of Ash, he's been watching the battle closely. He's surprised to see Rinto having beaten Rourke seemingly so easily. However, Rinto had a good strategy of trying to wear Rampardos down in order to strike hard. This only makes Ash want to battle Rinto more, but at the same time, he's still a little standoffish about it. The Curlia just keeps reminding him of his battle with Bede, and he doesn't like the constant ringing of Bede's words in his ears. However, now with Rinto in the Great class, he and Ash can battle. Rinto decides to use his Dawnstone and evolves Curlia into Gallade. And before the battle begins, Rinto actually asks Ash to use Scyther. Ash is a little confused as he was originally thinking of using Riolu in order to better prepare for a potential rematch with Bede in the future. However, Rinto wants to face Scyther and see just how their blades fare against each other. Ash agrees to this, and the battle begins. Ash wants to be more careful, expecting Psych-type moves like Psybeam or Confusion. Scyther does have the type advantage, but he's going to want to end this quickly. He calls for Scyther to use a Swords Dance. As Scyther boosts his own attack, Rinto calls for Hypnosis, which puts Scyther to sleep. Then, with 2 slash attacks, Gallade takes down Scyther. Ash doesn't even know what just happened. Neither does Go or Chloe. Rinto and Gallade begin to leave, seeming disappointed that the battle was over that quickly. Rinto thanks him for the battle and says he hopes Ash gets stronger for the next time they face off. Ash doesn't respond to him, so he simply leaves after that. Ash falls to his knees, unable to comprehend that he lost. This was his 3rd loss in a row, even after his training. It was a major loss, too. Due to Rinto's lower rank compared to him, he dropped significantly from the Great class rank he had before. Now he was rank 1000, meaning he was back in the normal class. Granted, a single battle would get him back into the Great class, but he wasn't thinking about that at this moment. He doesn't understand what he did wrong. He was thinking about what he needed to prepare himself for throughout the entire battle. Yet he'd been beaten again, by someone he'd been able to beat before too. Rinto's Gallade hadn't even been healed much after the previous battle. If anything, battle should have been easy for him to win. So what was it? The words Bede said to Ash were still ringing in his ears. And now, he was starting to believe them more and more. Was he just weak like Bede said he was? Go and Chloe see how badly Ash is taking this, and decide they should go to the Pokemon Center for the night. Before they leave, Rourke does tell them that he's going to see if his father or anyone else knowledgeable of stones will know what it is that Ash managed to find. Ash doesn't really say much back. So with that, they leave. What the trio don't realize is Team Rocket was actually watching this battle. They were in Sinnoh to get more Pokemon for Giovanni, however, the World Championships does seem interesting, as does the stone Ash found. So, they decide to keep that information in mind before they report to their boss. The next morning, they check in on Chloe's fossil, only to find that it's been revived into Shieldon. The Shieldon is very timid and ends up running off. However, Chloe follows it. She ends up finding it in Orberg Gate. Shieldon tries to ram into her, but Eevee uses Copycat to block it using the same Iron Head attack it was using. When the two ram into each other, Chloe smiles, before picking up Shieldon and holding it close in order to calm it down. She tells it that she knows it's scary to wake up in a place you don't know. She remembers one time when she was little, she ended up getting lost in the woods. But she assures Shieldon that someone will always be there to help her. For her, at that time, it was her dad and Yamper. She says she'll be the one there for Shieldon, as will Eevee. Shieldon calms down, and they go back to the mining museum. There, she tells Ash and Ghost she'll keep Shieldon with her. With that, she catches Shieldon, meaning she now has 2 Pokemon. And so, they have to decide what they're going to do next. They have a little time before they have to return to Vermilion City, so Go decides he wants to go to Wayward Cave, which isn't really that far from Warburg City. So, they head out. On their way to Wayward Cave, they end up meeting a little Turtwig, which Ash tells Go is the grass starter of the Sinnoh region. Go is instantly interested in it. However, the feeling is not mutual between him and Turtwig, as Turtwig ends up biting the Pokeball Go throws, even crushing it, which greatly surprises Go. He keeps trying to throw Pokeballs, but Turtwig either bites them or gets rid of them, or sometimes blocks them with a leafage before it manages to escape despite its slow movements. Now Go's dead set on catching Turtwig. He's completely forgotten about his plans to catch a Gibble. So, the 3 begin looking for Turtwig. Little do they know, Turtwig has actually run into the Rocket Trio. The 3 decide to try and capture Turtwig for themselves, with James even thinking Grookey could help them out. Unfortunately for them, though, Turtwig doesn't really seem to like Grookey based on first impressions. So, Jessie, being the way she is, decides to just call in the gotcha and take Turtwig by force. She ends up getting a Magmar and has it attack. As Turtwig tries to hold its own, Go and the gang show up in an attempt to help it. Ash, Go, and Chloe immediately send out their Pokemon to try and help Turtwig out, and James decides to join up with Jessie. That's when Grookey creates a grassy terrain, which shocks each of them. However, this does boost both Grookey and Turtwig's power, meaning the battle is a lot quicker than normal. Grookey actually manages to take out Ash's Darumaka, showing it's quite powerful, although it's clear to everyone that there's something that's still not right with Ash. Despite this, Grookey does seem interested in Ash and his Darumaka. Other than that, Team Rocket are taken out with relative ease thanks to Go and Chloe, and Turtwig for teaming up, sending the Rocket Trio blasting off again! Turtwig is thankful, so despite its previous rejections of Go, Turtwig decides to join him and is caught. It's a joyous occasion for everyone, except Ash. As they're leaving to prepare for their flight back home, Go and Chloe are worried by this unnatural reaction from Ash. However, they aren't sure what they can do. Meanwhile, the Rockets speak with Giovanni, telling him about the World Championships, only to find out he already knows what that is, and has plans relating to it in motion. The trio aren't really surprised and are practically kicking themselves due to even thinking he might not already know what it is. That's when they decide to also speak up about Grookey, saying they're surprised by its ability to make grassy terrain, and that it's so powerful. Before the call ends, Giovanni reveals it was a gift, but despite its strength, it was too weak in his mind, so that's why it was in the gacha. However, if they can make Grookey stronger, he'll be happy to reconsider it. If they can't, then he doesn't really care what they do with it. At the end of the call, the Rocket Trio are staring wide-eyed at the Grass Monkey Pokemon. And that's where we're going to leave things for right now. So what did you guys think? Do you like that Rento returns? How do you feel about the effects of Ash's battle with Bede from the previous episode? And what do you think about Grookey and its relationship with Giovanni? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!